What's going on, everybody? Mortem here, this time bringing you an early preview for There Are No Ghosts at the Grand, which, by the way, I'm pretty sure there are, in fact, ghosts at the Grand, but I freely admit that this video is a bit different from my usual stuff, and the reason I decided to cover it is because you may or may not recognize the name of this particular title, I suppose, because it made a bit of a splash at the Summer Games Fest a few months ago, as it looked like a pretty interesting title, had a pretty catchy song for its showcase, and more than anything, it looked kind of unique and interesting. And after having played this preview, of course, I had some things to say about the matter. Now, just so you're aware, basically what happened here is that the developers, via a PR company doing outreach for them, asked if I wanted to take a look at it ahead of the release of its demo officially coming up on Halloween. So here in roughly a month or so, you should be able to check this out for yourself if you're interested. And while the game itself does not have an official release date yet or anything, I believe they are shooting for sometime in 2026 last I heard, but otherwise, let's talk about the game itself. So for starters, just so you're aware, this is an early demo. It was in fact a little bit stuttery, which I'm sure you'll probably be able to see in some of the footage here and there. But the actual gameplay is a bit interesting because it's a mix of a few different things, and in a lot of weird ways it kind of reminds me of Luigi's Mansion. But to set the stage a little bit, the gist of it here is that basically our character inherited a decrepit old English hotel in a small town seemingly on an island. Now the catch here is that basically as soon as you arrive, things are strange. People are not happy about you being here, cleaning up the hotel, trying to renovate it, that kind of thing. And it's very clear very quickly that they know something you don't, and that's before things start getting strange, like a cat that talks, being attacked by ghosts at night, and other strangeness. But now that leaves us with the gameplay itself. So probably worth a mention straight away that the game has a bit of a musical nature to it, but while there are certainly a couple songs being sung here and there, for the most part it's a little more focused on the gameplay, which comes down to the expected things, like actually trying to renovate this hotel, but also some surprising stuff as well with the battling of ghosts at night, but also solving a whole host of mysteries and even exploring some of the rest of the town. You're not actually confined to the hotel space, as an example. You will be able to explore and fix up other stuff on top of everything else going on. So it looks like there's going to be an actual proper little town to explore and get to the bottom of some mysteries, which I wanted to mention because it kind of feels like this game is aiming to be a little more than you might think when you initially look at it. Now, otherwise, the systems themselves are relatively simple with a focus on things like puzzles and the story itself, but a lot of the things you're actually going to be running around and doing and interacting with require your sort of like renovation gun, if you will, which is a special tool with a talking avatar that helps you out of various situations. But there's a whole bunch of different versions of this thing that you're going to swap out to either like vacuum up debris, place furniture, or destroy things via the sand blaster. So basically a sort of catch-all tool. Now, curiously enough, some of these do have like alternate fire modes, and that's going to come up for using the vacuum to actually put things back after you've picked them up, but also a little bit, I guess you could say, in combat, which just seems to be like some basic shooting, in which ghosts will attack you at night, which seems to certainly contradict the fact that there are supposedly no ghosts at the Grand, you would imagine. And honestly, that simple concept basically seems to be the core of it. You're going to try to renovate this hotel, help fix up the town, while also trying to get to the bottom of whatever this mysterious place is, and what it is the locals know about it, and also why is it obviously attracting all this supernatural stuff. A few other things to note from this preview though. There do seem to be a variety of different vehicles. We have a moped to get around town with. There's a section of it where you are actually piloting a boat to get to locations, and apparently this is going to be other places you can go as well. So straight away, my kind of thoughts here are what that would look like in terms of like side content. Is this all pretty much related back to the main story, or will there actually be like different side things to do and get to the bottom of, that kind of thing? But for the mysteries that I encountered, most of it was sort of some light puzzle work, finding the coordinates of various things and then inputting those into their input device, that kind of thing. But there were also some more interesting stuff being shown in the form of memories. In fact, This is where the game starts to get much more supernatural in nature, in the sense that you could sort of re-explore old memories, and utilizing your tools, you could expand those memories to then learn more about what was happening in those various situations. Which is just one of the ways this place feels unsettling and wrong, and I guess that's kind of what drew me in and inspired me to make a video about it, because just on like pure vibes, this game is like Lovecraft meets Luigi's Mansion, and I don't quite know what to make of it. It's trying to do a lot of stuff that I think, if it comes together to make like a cohesive package, could be something really interesting and unique, which is obviously of interest to me given how many games I play. But there's also stuff I would just simply have to learn more about and see if it's up my alley. Like, for instance, I'll be honest, a lot of the musical stuff doesn't necessarily appeal to me personally, but I do know that that kind of thing has its own audience out there. I'd also be curious to know what kind of progression systems, if any, are really in here. Like, is it just tool-based in the sense that you earn more tools to do more with and interact with the environment in different ways, or if there is more to it than that, as the Steam page for the game actually mentions doing some things like various little side activities, that is to say things like mini golf, using a metal detector on the beach, photography, that kind of thing, and I'm curious if that is all just like purely for funsies, or how the game might reward you for doing those things in some way. But all of that completely ignores the fact that there's also the actual part where you will be decorating fully the places that you are in, which actually includes cleaning them up, placing furniture, painting the walls, swapping things out, stuff like that. And all along the way, throughout all of that, you'll be literally fixing up this hotel, which I hope actually has some gameplay elements to it. That is to say, like managing the hotel in some way. Because it looks like you'll be meeting an odd cast of characters along the way, one of which being Mrs. Green here that we see in this demo, who simultaneously wants your help, but makes it very clear that she's not terribly happy that you've decided to take ownership of the Grand, and more or less leaves you stranded on an island, which leads to this demo's like main combat encounter at night, where you can explore the remnants of a World War II bunker, or a listening post that has kind of been left by the wayside as well. So sort of putting all of that together, this demo and this game seem to be doing just a lot of really interesting stuff, and I wanted to take a minute to talk about it and hopefully get a little more word about it out there. But again, you should be able to play this demo for yourself and see some of this in action personally on Halloween when this demo drops for everybody. And I am certainly going to be taking a look at it when it launches in full, as I am very curious as to what this game has for an experience. But as for today, that's pretty much going to wrap it up. Certainly hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know how you feel about this one down in the comments section below. I'd be very curious to know, given the very unique nature of it, and the fact that it's certainly a little bit outside of my normal wheelhouse. I'm just curious to see what you guys think, which naturally means to like, comment, subscribe, all that YouTube jazz. But regardless of any of that, truly, just thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. May you wander in wisdom and have an amazing day.